It sucks when you have to go to jail, folks. And it really sucks when you miss your court dates. And we're gonna talk about what happens when you miss a court date. What happens in particular when you miss a sentencing date. This is not a good thing to miss. And let's talk about Matos v. State. It's a recent case where she pled to a misdemeanor battery and she agreed to do 30 days jail, but the judge was nice and said, hey, Miss Matos, do you need time to get your affairs in order? She's like, yeah, I got pets, I got a job, I got all these things that need to get in order. Fine, the judge says, I want you to show up later and take your 30 days later at a sentencing date. And everything's cool, right? No, not so cool, because Miss Matos missed that court date where she was supposed to get her 30 days. And if you want to piss off a judge, you're really going to send them all the way to the top when you miss a sentencing date that you knew you were going to jail on. So when they do catch up with Miss Matos after her sentencing date, the judge now gives her 300 days jail rather than the 30 days jail, because folks, it's called a quarterman agreement. But forget about the term quarterman agreement. The fact is, she agreed to 30 days jail if she showed up for sentencing. If you don't show up that day, you don't get your 30 days. You get whatever the judge wants to give you. And in this case, the judge wanted to give her 300 days and gave her 300 days. Now, normally that is perfectly legal. I had a friend of mine and his client had to do 3 years on a trafficking. It was a minimum mandatory 3 years prison. That client did not show up for sentencing, just like Miss Matos. When they caught up with him 2 days later, did he get the 3 years? He got 30 years in prison instead of 3 years. My friend appealed it, the 30 years stuck, okay? It's a quarterman agreement. You agree to get whatever the judge wants to give you if you miss that court date. So please don't miss your sentencing dates. However, let's talk about Miss Matos, because when they gave her the 300 days, she's like, look, Your Honor, the reason I didn't show up on that date for sentencing is because my boyfriend, who I love very much, who is supposed to watch my pets and all the things while I'm in jail for 30 days, he broke up with me and left me at the side of the road. I found a way to get home, and all my stuff and my pets were in the front yard, and he was done with me, and I have nowhere to go. I have nowhere to put my pets, and I was literally, Your Honor, suicidal over the breakup and just all the stress. And she called the police because she didn't feel safe getting all her stuff from this guy's place. And the police are like, girl, you are suicidal. We are Baker acting you. And she had to go to the hospital for her suicidalness, and therefore she missed sentencing. What happened about these 300 days? Because the judge heard all this, and the judge was like, you get 300 days. Next case. You got to have a little empathy, I think, if you are on the bench and you are trying to sort out people's lives and circumstances. Miss Matos had a circumstance that did not deserve 300 days in jail. And the appellate court actually agreed. But the appellate court didn't have empathy. I think they did. But what the appellate court said went wrong at the trial court was, it isn't about missing your sentencing date, right? It is about whether you willfully missed your sentencing date. And what they said was, Miss Matos did not willfully miss a sentencing. She was involuntarily committed to a mental health facility under the Baker Act. You go in a cop car, you practically go in handcuffs, and you can't get out of there for like 3 days. So how was she supposed to make it to sentencing? She couldn't. No way. And that's why her 300 days got overturned. Now, my recommendation, of course, you have to make your sentencing dates under these quarterman agreements. But that's a story for another day. Miss Matos got out of her 300 days because the judge should have found that her failure to appear was not willful. She was taken away to be Baker acted. And anyway, I thank you for watching. Look, you could help us out a little if you click on a subscribe or a like or some random button that these companies come up with. I would appreciate it. It would help us out. Thank you.